Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Right now the vehicle is in all road, so let's get out of that right away. So let's put it in comfort, and you can see the ride height is actually decreasing. Meanwhile, the steering feels really very nice to hold. It feels very premium too, and the wipers work brilliantly well on this vehicle. You could see the headlamp washer first sprayed itself to clean the headlamp, and obviously the wipers get the dual blade treatment. Meanwhile, over here we get a mirror along with a light, and there are twin sun visors on either side, so you can block all kinds of sun over here. Obviously the glass area is massive, same is the case over here as well. So yes, there's a lot of attention to detail and comfort in this Audi. Meanwhile, the Bose sound system in this vehicle performs exceptionally well. The audio quality is really surreal. Press this button to mute it. Audio quality is fab. These Bose sound system work really very well in this vehicle. Let me quickly get into the main menu. So this is the main menu. It also gets 30 ambient lights, and as you can see, it is a very easy to use system. Get into car, it will show you the various modes on offer, and if I get into audio drive select and I get into individual, over here I can actually tweak the parameters of engine, gearbox, air suspension as well as the steering. Meanwhile, if I get into driver assist, there are a lot of driver assist as well, like speed warning, parking aid, efficiency assist, Audi presense, rest recommendation, and rain sensors, because obviously it gets automatic headlights, automatic wipers. It will also tell you when the car needs to be serviced, what is the tire pressure like, what are the oil levels. I mean, this is a very advanced system, but yes, I miss certain things which are there in BMW cars, like a remote parking and gesture control. Meanwhile, there's no massage function in this vehicle. Unfortunately, no ventilated or heating function for the front seat, which is again unfortunate at this price point. The good thing though is that over here, obviously these are the power window controls, these are the mirror controls. It gets heated mirror as well. Meanwhile, this is the child lock for the rear seat. You can child lock the windows independently along with the doors, which is a nice touch, because honestly, if you're having a child inside the car, you don't want to manually do it for a car which costs this much. It's there in almost every Jaguar and Land Rover car, which is a great thing. So let's quickly try the park assist function of this vehicle, which means I press this button and it's telling me to indicate where I want to park the vehicle. I have said I want to park it in the right. It's telling me to say okay, so I've said okay. Now it's moving the steering wheel. All I need to do is get onto the throttle. Okay, basically park assist has ended because this is not a proper parking. However, as you saw, it actually steers automatically, which is such a brilliant touch in this vehicle. So this car looks and feels very nice and premium, and definitely is built to last and munch on the miles. Extremely good build quality, extremely wide cabin, a lot of comfort, a lot of space, a lot of technologies. But how is this diesel motor? Well, I've already reviewed the petrol. Let's quickly get driving the diesel. Alright, we are all set to go, which means we get into drive mode and we move the drive select into dynamic mode. And when you get into dynamic mode, the car is actually going down. Yeah, you can feel the car going down because it gets air suspension obviously. And traction control off. And we are all set to go. Air conditioning off, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor, revs all the way to 3000 RPM, and off we go. Revs slightly more than 4,500 RPM. Actually, it revs till 4,600 RPM, and the performance is quite punchy, I would say. I like the performance from this engine. This diesel engine is really very smooth, very refined as well. Get hard to the throttle, and there is an immediate response from this motor as well. So this Audi is powered by a 3-liter V6 diesel motor, which produces 249 horsepower and most importantly 600 Newton meters of torque. Now that 600 Newton meters of torque comes between 1500 to 3000 RPM. So there's good amount of low end punch from this motor. It definitely feels punchy, refined, and the power delivery is very linear. In fact, it has a good mid-range as well, and honestly in the top end there's not much, but it still goes to its top end with a very refined demeanor. However, you really don't have to pull this motor in the top end. It is overall a very good motor. In fact, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour takes just 7.1 seconds, and the top speed is 231 kilometers per hour. Now if you wanted to get such kind of performance earlier in the older Audi Q7, you had to opt for nothing other than the 4.2-liter TDI, which offered 335 horsepower, and it was an absolutely gem of a motor. However, this one, well, it offers similar levels of performance thanks to the fact that it has dropped 325 kgs of weight, and that has happened thanks to the MLB2 platform. Now this new Audi Q7 is much more lighter. Like I told you, 325 kgs is a lot of weight loss. So they have lost weight all around, including the body panels, but the whole fact is that this car is actually reduced in length, in weight, in height, in every parameter, which is kind of sad because the older Audi Q7 was known for its beefy dimensions. This one, they have actually shrunk everything. Still, they managed to actually improve the interior room of this SUV. But you know, the whole beefiness is gone, but this car feels so much more light and agile on its feet. The older car felt a handful around corners. It really needed some effort to turn around and twirl the steering, but this one feels so much easier to drive. It just feels so much better in every possible way. I love this motor. It is so smooth and so refined, punchy as well. And like I told you, the performance numbers are great too. In terms of ride and handling balance, the ride quality, obviously it gets air suspension. It has got 6 driving modes as well. But the problem over here is that the suspension is slightly on the softer side, so it is always, you know, having a movement of sorts. So in comfort mode, it's good in the city, but still, you know, it does move around a bit. You need to drive in dynamic mode out on the highway, and when you are in dynamic mode, you can still feel the continuous movement of the suspension up and down. So in terms of ride quality, it is not the best, and in terms of handling, it feels way better than the older Q7. However, there's some amount of body roll too, and this isn't a car you would like to push around corners, but it's still a very agile and nimble SUV to drive. The only problem is the steering. It feels so artificial. It doesn't weigh up as a BMW X5, but yeah, it does have weight at higher speeds. It doesn't scare you silly, but it's just too artificial for my liking. It doesn't inspire too much confidence to push it hard around corners. Now obviously power is channeled to all 4 wheels via Audi's Quattro all-wheel drive system in a split of 40-60, 40 to the front wheels, 60 to the rear wheels, and it can channel up to 70% power to the front wheels and 85% to the rear axle in need of going off-road, because this is a very capable car off-road. In fact, you can increase the ground clearance by 60 mm to 235 mm. The standard height is around 175 mm. So all you need to do is press a button and the ride height will increase. In fact, this car drops its ride height at higher speeds. Once you cross 120 kilometers per hour, it will automatically lower itself for better aerodynamic efficiency. So yes, there are a lot of clever techniques over here in the Audi Q7. It just feels like a brilliant vehicle to drive in terms of, you know, feel, and definitely looks the part, has plenty of features, but don't expect it to go as fast around corners as say the Porsche Cayenne or even the BMW X5. Now I will tell you something very important. This car is underpinned by the same MLB platform which is also there in the Porsche Cayenne, but the Cayenne feels so different. It kind of feels like an entirely different vehicle altogether, because obviously Porsche has tuned it more in the stiffer side. This is more on the softer side, and in terms of overall balance, I would say they have nailed it for Indian conditions, because it doesn't feel outright uncomfortable. It's only at higher pace that you can feel the movement of the suspension. In this car, power is built in such a gradual fashion. You never feel underpowered. Everything feels smooth and refined and obviously punchy as well. However, if you really want breathtaking performance from an SUV, opt for the Audi SQ7. Now the SQ7 isn't launched in India yet, but it is powered by a 4-liter V8 TDI diesel motor which goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 4.8 seconds. That's blisteringly fast without burning a hole in your pocket like the Mercedes AMG GLS 63, because that's a petrol, and the SQ7 is a diesel, so it's much more efficient. Now this one has a claimed fuel economy of 14.75 kilometers per liter as per ARAI, and in the real world it is returning somewhere around 8 to 9 kilometers per liter. That, coupled with the fact that it has a 75-liter fuel tank, gives it a decent amount of range as well. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor, and off we go. There is so much grip on offer. It is absolutely insane. This Audi SUV just stays glued to the road at all times, and you want to push it around corners, no problemo. You can push it around corners. Only thing is that, you know, once you get used to the whole roll and the movement from this vehicle, you will kind of love it, but you don't get used to the steering. Somehow too much artificial feel in it. However, that said, this car costs rupees 1.03 crores for the top of the line Q7 diesel technology plus. If you want to opt for the premium plus, that costs around rupees 10 lakhs less. Meanwhile, if you want to opt for the petrol, that costs rupees 7 lakhs less. So should you buy an Audi Q7 at a price of rupees 1.07 crores? Now that is a lot of money. However, you get an SUV which is extremely polished, refined, spacious, and definitely it is a car which takes the legacy forward. It is Bollywood's favorite SUV, but somehow Bollywood isn't biting into the second generation model because it doesn't have the beefy look or the presence. The first generation was just too phenomenal in terms of appearance. I don't know how Audi went ahead and reduced the size of the vehicle. You never reduce the size of any car, trust me on that. could have made it bigger, but I know this has been done for increased efficiency, improved drivability and better handling and dynamics. But most people want an SUV not for the dynamics, they want an SUV for the presence, and that's where the Q7 doesn't have that much of a presence as its predecessor. Yes, the 8-speed torque converter gearbox is fast with shifts. You can obviously take manual control of things using the steering mounted paddles like I have done now. It's come into M mode, not the BMW M mode, it's saying M3 right now, which reminds me of a certain car which I absolutely adore and love. And as I get onto the throttle, I realize that it is not going to hold on to a gear. It will upshift, it will not hold on to a gear, which is sad, because at least that liberty should be there if I'm getting into manual mode in a 1 crore rupee car. Obviously with the driving modes, a lot of changes happen to the engine, the gearbox, the steering, as well as the suspension, air suspension. So yes, it stiffens up in dynamic mode, the steering also tightens up in dynamic mode, the engine becomes more aggressive, and it holds on to a gear as well. So yes, the dynamic mode actually makes you feel a big difference when you're driving the Q7, and that is something which I really appreciate, because when you change your mode, now the car should completely change. You should be like, oh my god, I was in a Q5, now I'm in a Q7, now I'm in a Q8 with the switch of a button. But yeah, I know I'm just being too stupid right now. The way the power is built in a very smooth and linear fashion, and the pull is absolutely impressive. Such an amazing SUV. I absolutely love it. I love the fact that it has got 7 seats, and although the GLS is also a very capable car, the problem with the GLS is that it is old now. Not that the Q7 is any younger, because the facelift is expected next year. Meanwhile, the new X5 is coming, the X7 is coming, so BMW is on a roll and it's going to do an absolutely smashing job in 2019. Let's hope that the Q7 facelift comes and addresses a lot of the issues of this vehicle, and if the facelift cannot address the issues of the Q7, just give us the SQ7. We crave for a powerful fast diesel engine and an SUV. However, BMW is going to launch the X7 with 400 horsepower quad turbos. Oh my god, I can't wait for it. Anyways guys, this is my review of the Audi Q7 diesel, a car which is absolutely smashingly hot and amazing as well. However, certain things could have been certainly better, especially the road presence, where it kind of lacked a little bit more station wagon now than SUV. That's it guys, it is still a favorite of many industrialists as well as big shot people, because when you come in an Audi Q7 and you stand on the horn like that, people actually move out of your way. If you like this video, you know what you have to do. Give it the thumbs up, that's a like button. Meanwhile, right now the temperature says 22 degrees, and over here Neha is feeling absolutely cold. What's up? What's with wearing sweaters and stuff like that early morning?
See, I was out in the morning and it was pretty cold. It was 18 degrees in the morning.
18 degrees is not cold.
I know it's not cold, but when you're not keeping well, you feel cold.
Yeah, of course. Anyways, Annabelle is not feeling well, so wish her luck to get well soon. And like I told you, bye-bye.